What's happening, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Phightin Words. Anthony Stanfilippo is here. I'm Bob Wankel. It is April 24th, 2026. And Anthony, I mentioned the date specifically because it is April 24th, and the Phillies have not won a game in a week and a half, and they are free falling. And it is very possible, but that by the end of this weekend, they're double digits behind the Braves. They're 8-17. They've lost 9 straight games. This is a disaster. And we've done a show. We've done 2 shows now, right? We're like last Friday, it was, boy, this team is not playing great baseball. It could carry into the weekend against Atlanta. They get swept. We do the show Monday. It's like, wow, this is getting really ugly. They've got to at least sort of tread water this week. They get swept again in a 4-game series. And for the most part, got bludgeoned in it up until late yesterday. And we're going to talk today, and I don't know if there's a different tone to this show, but it's consistent in its messaging, which is that the Phillies are not very good, or they are certainly not very good right now, but we're, I think, reaching a point where it's getting dark really, really early here. And if this continues, we might be talking about, for the next 2 months, like, what do you do ahead of a trade deadline in which you've had a complete disaster of a season? And I don't want to do that. And so today, I feel like we're kind of coming into like last gasp time with this thing. You need to talk me off the ledge a little bit. I think you're having a hard time doing it, though.
Well, I can't talk you off the ledge. I mean, look, you lose 9 games in a row. Good teams don't lose 9 games in a row in a season. It just doesn't happen. You can have bad stretches. Bad stretches happen all the time. And as I texted you yesterday, right after, like immediately after the game, I said, the message we're going to get is, there were a lot of good things to take away from that one. It was a competitive game, and that's exactly what we got, right? Yep. And maybe that was a sign of the offense figuring a couple of things out, whatever. Bob, they have exhausted most of their, what I like to call their mulligans, right? Yeah. Over a course of a year, you have several bad games. You have games that you just say, yeah, we're going to flush that one and come back the next day, or whatever. You can't have that many bad games in April and think you're going to get through the rest of the season and be okay. Like that's the thing. It's weird. Like I don't mind if you lose a game like you lose yesterday. Yeah, you get frustrated. It's the 9th in a row. But at least, it's a competitive game. You fight back, whatever. That just seems like one of the 60-some games you're going to lose every year, right? Like, I mean, that's just what it seemed like. Okay, fine.
That's how they would have lost a game last year. When they would lose, you're like, hey, they were in it. Shit happens.
Yeah, exactly. I look at it and say that the 3 games before it are the ones that are more concerning. Like, you can't have all those games in a row where you have so many things go wrong. Like you just can't. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Like I look at it going forward here, and is there still time to turn this around? Sure it is, right? I just went through this. They
were 7-8 games under in 22 in much later in the year.
I just went through this in the hockey season. Like, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, we were 20 games ago in the season, we're like, this team's got no shot of making the playoffs, and then they made the playoffs. Like, I mean, so I am cautious when I say that, you're in a lot of trouble, and there's, it's unlikely at this point. You have the worst record in baseball. Like, if you rank teams 1 through 30, Phillies are 30. Like that right now, they're the worst record in baseball. Like, I can you tell me?
If you told me through 25 games that the Phillies got off to a sluggish start and they were 11-14, and they've had some ups and downs, and there's some issues, and I would say like that is not beyond a reasonable outcome. It's not a crazy thing to process. What I just don't get, and what I have a hard time looking at, is just some of the numbers surrounding it and the way that they've played, the way that they have just not competed more times than, more often than not. I mean, you just look at where they're at today. And granted, like the Cubs, and one thing I wanted to get to here is like the Braves are excellent. They have the best run differential in all of baseball right now, plus 62. It's 7 better than the Dodgers. The Cubs have the 3rd best run differential. I think that the Cubs and Braves are top 5 to 7 teams in baseball. And I think that they will continue to be. I mean, that Cubs lineup is legit. And we all know what the Braves are about. But that's sort of like the glass is half full outlook. The Phillies will exit this gauntlet between these two teams. But what does it say about their inability to compete with these teams or even field professional level games against these teams? Number one. And number two, like, are they not that good? And it's just the Phillies are so bad that the Braves and Cubs are puffing up their performances, their records, their stats because the Phillies suck. Like that's the other part of it. When you're only 25 games into a season, some of these numbers can get skewed for a variety of different reasons. I'm trying to remain positive here, though, and saying like they are playing 2 really good teams and they're not playing good baseball, and this is what happens.
Yeah. I think that is part of it. You got yourself into a rut at the wrong time because you're facing two excellent teams in the Cubs and the Braves. And you're right. It could be, they come next week and you're playing the Giants and the Marlins and the Rockies and the A's. Like maybe things change at that point. And who knows, 3 weeks from now, they're back to 500 all of a sudden. We're like, wow, Brad, remember that bad April? Look what's going on, right? Like,
well, and here's the thing, like there's more immediate things to talk about, but if you look at the schedule beyond, like, and I only bring this up because I want to work under the premise that on April 24th, the season's not over and that we're not going to do shows twice a week for the next 5 months where we just talk about how bad this team sucks. It's possible. I think actually it's very much in play that that's what we do. But like, let's just, for the sake of argument, look beyond this weekend. They come back home. They have a quick 3 games, I believe it is, with the Giants. The Giants aren't very good. They lost 2-3 to the Giants earlier this year, but they did it out west where they never win. Reasonable. So you come back. Can you win a series? You go to you go down to Miami to play the Marlins. Marlins are playing okay baseball right now, but again, like that's a team you expect to beat. You have the A's who aren't very good at home after that. You have the Rockies who aren't very good at home after that. You have the Red Sox who are not particularly good. Like you have an ability through the middle of May to chip away at this. I don't think they're going to rip off 7 straight wins at any point, but can they heat up and win, 5 out of 7, 7 out of 10 and eat away at this deficit? Yes. Like, and can they stabilize and get themselves back into a playoff picture? Yeah, it's there. It's like this part of the schedule they have to take advantage of. And you said that they've wasted all their mulligans. That's the thing. Like, there is no like, well, we got 2 out of 3. Like, you've got to go find some sweeps. You've got to go find some streaks now to eat away at this thing. And it's a long season. And if you get yourself by mid-June back to 500, this will all just sort of be like, are they going to win the division? No. But can they do what they want to do and accomplish what they want to accomplish still? Like, yes. Like, the math can math. The math can still work. But the bigger problem is forget the math and just look at what you're watching and look at how they're playing. And it just feels like there's something off. I mean, even yesterday, I love Cristopher Sanchez, but like 12 hits. And I know that 3 of them were infield singles. There was a pop-up over Harper's shoulder early in the game. There were some cheapies mixed in there, but like that's your dude in the middle of an 8-game losing streak. And he goes out and gives up 12 hits. Like, in any other season, we'd be like, what the hell was that? Should we be concerned about Cristopher Sanchez giving up a boatload of hits over his last 4 starts? We would be having that conversation. But instead, we're talking about like there's 6 guys in this lineup that are utterly useless. And every starting pitcher stinks. And oh, by the way, the bullpen stinks. And Brad Keller stinks. And like it is so bad that it's really hard to get on this show and hammer out these individual issues with you.
You're right. But we have to do it. But we have to fill an hour, right? Like we have to, or most of an hour.
The Braves are 113 runs better than the Phillies this season. 113. They've been playing for 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, it's just wild, Bob. Like, I mean, I don't know. I sat there in utter. I was utterly perplexed this week with how things were progressing. Like you would think after getting swept by Atlanta that there would have been like okay, this is it. We can't let it get any longer than this. And then they lost 4 straight to the Cubs.
Yeah, and they
three
really
of them
did not
three of them were completely uncompetitive.
And what's amazing is I tweeted this out yesterday, and at the time it was 38-2. But they've had in this 9-game losing streak 6 leads, 6 different games with leads, and this team has been excellent, as many good teams are. But this team especially has been excellent in recent years. When they score first, they tend to win the game.
Yeah.
And so in a 9-game losing streak, to get out to a lead in 6 of them, and they've been outscored from the point that they've taken the lead in these 6 losses. They've been outscored now 42-8. It's like they get up by a run and they immediately forfeit the lead, and then they get bludgeoned to death thereafter. I mean, they cannot hold a lead. They can't hold a competitive baseball game other than yesterday after getting a lead. It's been staggering to watch. I mean, it really has just been crazy. And it was said on your show, someone very smart apparently sent you a message yesterday. And I know that you'd put this out on your stoplight show there with Tim Kelly, or what is that what you guys call it? Stoplight?
Phillies stoplight. Yeah.
You put it out on that show and you said, relative to expectation, this is the worst Phillies team ever. And again, really smart guy, whoever came up with that. But I can't even find anything close. At least in my lifetime, 40 years, I've never seen a team where you'd say oh, they ran it back. This team doesn't have it. Topper sucks, or they're going to be old. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw a -51 run differential and an 8-17 record and a 9-game losing streak in the month of April. Nobody, not even the most pessimistic Phillies fan, could have ever seen this coming. We all thought, at the very least, this was a playoff team, or if you really hated them, maybe they'd be a 500 team, right? This team sucks. And relative to expectation, they are incomprehensibly bad.
Yeah, and I was trying to think about it when I said it on the show, and it's funny. And look, let's be honest, you're the one who texted me that,
yes,
right? And then I put it out on that show because I thought it was actually a really interesting angle, and I was thinking to myself, is there another team that had the kind of expectations that this team had coming into this season and was this bad? The only ones that I could even think of in my lifetime, and I made reference to one of them on the show, was the 94 Phillies. And maybe in retrospect, it's not, we shouldn't have had the expectations that we did, because 93 was just a flash in the pan, as it turned out. But going into the 94 season, we thought, okay, 93 was so great, go and do it again. And then they were 10 games under 500 when the work stoppage happened, right? So they were not a very good team. So maybe I think that one. And the only other one is probably, and this is a little bit before your time, Bob, but 1979. You come off of 3 straight division titles, 100-win seasons, and then you finish in 4th place in 1979 before you bounce back in 1980. Those are the only 2 that I could even compare to what's going on right now. And even that, I'm not sure either one of those are worse than what is going on right now. Because at least the 79 team was around 500, right? I mean, disappointing, yes, but around 500. And 94, like I said, when you look back, the team wasn't good. They were lucky in 93. This might actually be the worst of them all.
So right now, as we talk, it's like we're walking up to a building that's kind of like on fire, right? It's like collapsing on itself, and we're have some wreckage here, and we want to save it, right? We're trying to assume that this is not the end result. Again, it could be. I guess the best thing to do right now is, as I said, a lot of things are wrong, and I am having a hard time bringing myself to go through these things one by one. But can we just maybe talk about everything that's wrong, truly, everything that concerns you right now, one by one, and quickly work through these things and kind of take the temperature of where's it really at? Is this full blown panic mode, or is this something that we think is going to correct itself? Because again, you've got to go down there this weekend and you've got to win a game. Like that is the bar.
I think they got to win. I think they got to win 2. I think they got to win both. Like
I think that they
3.
do too. I mean, but like just for like in terms of stopping like the hemorrhaging, like you've got to get one. You cannot come back to Philadelphia in the midst of a 12-game losing streak. You can't do it. By the way, if they get swept this weekend, I think they're going to fire the manager. Maybe that's like low-hanging fruit, Captain Obvious crap, and it pivots from like what we were talking about last Monday. But dude, 12 straight losses, like something has to happen. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're going to jump in and tell me I'm wrong here, but like, I just don't know how it doesn't at that point.
I just don't think it does.
I do. I'm really curious to see.
Look. What would Dombrowski sound like? I mean, he went and came out and said he's not firing the
and then they'll have lost 6 straight games after that. Like,
that's
my only thing. Like he said that when they were in the middle of a 6-game losing streak, and then you bolt on another 6. Like if they go out there and lose 9-1, 12-1, 8-0, and they look like they did in these last 3 games against the Braves. The 2 games at home against the Cubs, like where they don't compete. Again, like it's not about what's fair and whose fault it is, and is it actually going to fix things. And I also know, and I think it was alluded to by Dave this week, like you fire the manager, and then where does that put the spotlight? It kind of like it puts the spotlight more on the front office. Like there's dangers in doing that, but how can you go through one of the worst stretches of the last 50 years of a franchise that has lost a ton of games and say like, yeah, we're going to continue to stay the course here? I don't know.
Mets didn't fire their manager.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
It's weird, Bob. It's a situation that, I mean, if you get swept this weekend, I mean, you're done. You're done.
Are you done like playoff done, or are you done division done?
I don't know. I don't know how you come back from 8-20. I don't think anybody ever has.
Yeah.
Like if you go through the history of baseball and look at all the teams that started 8-20, I don't know if there's any that made the playoffs ever. So like that's why this weekend is so important. Like, and I don't even think 9-19 is acceptable. Like I think it has to be.
No, but like if you, again, like the idea is like, can you make the playoffs if you're 500 on July 1? Yes.
So
if you're,
if we really want examples, like the 2 most recent examples that I'll give, everybody just remember a couple years ago when the Phillies went to London, right? And they beat the Mets in the first game of that London series. Like we were laughing at the Mets. They were so far behind. They were, under 500. The Phillies were rolling, best record in baseball. And then what happened the rest of the year? Phillies played 500. Mets got really hot. Mets made the playoffs. Mets beat the Phillies and go to the NLCS. So, like, that was in June, okay? And if you go before that, go back to, was it 2019 when the Nationals won the World Series? They were 12 games under 500, and then all of a sudden won 93 games and won the World Series. So, like,
right. And so
there are examples of this in recent memory that teams can come back. Like it doesn't. So when you say 500 on July 1, yeah, you could even be under 500 in June and still be back. You can't be so far.
I know.
Under.
That's look, right now. Like if you force me to bet, like just to be fully clear here. I mean, I'm just trying to think through this to like make it relevant. If you force me to make a bet, do you believe in the 26 Phillies to recover and make the playoffs? I just would not. Like if I had to put $1 on that, I would put it the other way. Like, but I will also say if you wake up Monday morning and you're 9-19, like I don't know, can you recover, come back home, win a couple games before the end of the month, find yourself 8 games under, chip away at it in May, find yourself 3 games under, have win 3 games, go 3 games over 500 in June, wake up July 1 and be at the 500 mark, going towards the All-Star break. Like, yes, like again, like mathematically it's feasible.
Well,
but
I want to say, I just want to point out.
I know. Yes, I do. I do understand. I do understand how good they
It's not as crazy as he thinks, though. I mean, there's 61 games between now and July 1st. There's 61 games. That's a lot of games, right? And you're 11 games under, so you have to go 11 games over to get back to 500. in 61 games. It's doable, right? It's doable.
You have to go 35 and 25, which is over a 60-game block, what I would expect this team to do. Like,
yeah.
If you would have asked me, like, hey, do you think that over 60 games, the first 60 games of the year, do you think the Phillies are going to win 35 of them? If you asked me that question on March 15th, I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
30. The thing is, like, they have to do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Do I have confidence that they can do that at this point? Not especially. So like I'm saying two different things here. Like I'm just saying, can they do it? Sure. Like it can be done.
But and this is where I'll agree with both you and Dominic is that 35 and 25, that's doable. Is 38 and 22 doable when you've lost 20 of your first 28? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Right. And so that's why I look at this weekend as important as it is. If you're going to do this,
and we can talk about this weekend in a little bit. I mean, like, look, let's just go to yesterday, and I guess there were some positives. But when I look at, like, let's stop picking on Alec Boehm for a second, who actually had an okay game yesterday. Like, let's stop picking on Stott. Like, if you want our thoughts on those players, you can go back and watch the show on Monday. There's just not a lot of new information there.
No, there's not. But I do want to throw one thing out, just because my son always has some fun facts. He did throw this out after the Phillies released Taijuan Walker. Said, fun fact: since Alec Boehm debuted in the MLB, Taijuan Walker had a 6.4 WAR. Boehm is 4.6.
That's tough. That's tough for the Boehm fans out there.
Anyway, just thought I'd throw it out. It's one last little pot shot at Boehm before we move on. But go ahead.
Yeah, like if you're going to do this run and climb out of this, like what has to happen? Well, Cristopher Sanchez, who entered yesterday's game with a sub-2 ERA, had done a reasonably decent job, especially comparative to the rest of this rotation. He's got to be better. I mean, a situation like yesterday, again, he goes out, he goes 5 1/3, he gives up 12 hits, 6 earned runs, a big 3-run homer mixed in there, walks a couple, 99 pitches in the 6th inning. This has been a pattern for him the last few times out. He's limited damage to his credit, but he has not looked like the Cristopher Sanchez of late 24, certainly of last year. Like it's been rough. I mean, he's giving up a ton of hits. There's a ton of traffic on the bases. And again, credit to him for bearing down and limiting damage most of the time. But like, this doesn't look like the guy that the Phillies just gave all that extra money to. He doesn't look like the guy that he was a year ago. And like, he's got to be that guy again. Like if they're going to chase these losses now, he's got to be that guy again. And like, am I panicking? No, but he's got to be better.
Definitely has to be better. Like that was a discouraging game yesterday. And his numbers are a little bit weird so far this year, Bob, because he's got the 2.94 ERA, and you look at that and go, that's fine. Like that's totally fine. But he's giving up a ton of hits, not striking out as many guys, giving up a couple of home runs that he doesn't, he's not a guy who gives up a lot of home runs. He's giving up some home runs too. Like, so yeah, there's some dink and dunk. Yeah, there's a little bit of unlucky, play going against him, but he's also not been as sharp as he was last year or even the year before. Right. So there's a little bit that falls on Sanchez here. Yeah, for these starts.
No question.
And I think that needs to be, he needs to be better. Look, his next start is going to come against a weaker opponent.
I mean, look, I just real quick. I mean, he's given up 44 hits this season in 33 2/3 innings. That's the most hits allowed by any starting pitcher in baseball. The next highest is Logan Webb. I mean, he's 6 more hits allowed. Yes, there is a little bit of luck that plays into that. And I know I've said that the last 3 shows now. Like when things go this bad, yes, luck is typically not on your side. But again, like it just isn't good enough. And I expect him to get back there, but there's just not a lot of wiggle room. Like he's got to do it now. He's got to do it the next time out. He's got to do it against the Giants next week.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, look, if he struggles again against a bad team, then I think we have a different conversation. And that's not to sit there and say, well, why can't he pitch good against a good team? It's just the way things are right now with the team, right? Like there's a lot of pressure on that. Like we don't take that into consideration either, right? There's a lot of pressure to win a game, at this point. And sometimes if you're facing that pressure, that's an added pressure, and you're facing a good team, it's going to be a little bit tougher to get out from it, right? And they still almost won the game. I mean, they still almost pull it out. So it's not the end of the world, but if this continues against weaker opponents, then it becomes a red flag.
Well, the other part of this is obviously Zach Wheeler will make his debut this weekend, and there's not a lot of time. Like, this is very unfair to him because I think he's ahead of schedule. I think he's probably done everything in his power to get back and try to help this team. But there's just not a lot of time for Zach Wheeler to feel his way through this. Like, he's got to be good. He can't. He's probably not going to be Zach Wheeler, but this can't be a thing where it's he got us into the fourth and gave up 5 runs, but it's just good to have him back out there and he'll start to pick it up in June. Again, with this deficit, the way that they've played, they need him to be pretty good right away. This weekend.
Yeah. No.
And the rehab starts have been up and down.
Let me actually say, they need him to be good this weekend. Okay. He's probably limited to 90 pitches, 6 innings max. If he goes 6 innings, gives up 3 runs, is that okay? Or is that?
Yeah, I think that's he's got to give them a chance to win the game. It can't be I felt good to be back out on a major league mound, and in a month from now I'll be better. He's got to give them a shot to win.
Yeah,
I expect him to. That guy's earned the benefit of the doubt, but we have no idea, right?
We have no idea
what we're going to see on Saturday night.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what has gotten buried for me here, and I think this is a crucially important part, and one of the biggest reasons this team is where it's at this moment is that Trey Turner is stealing money. I'm not down there covering anymore. I don't have to be super professional. This guy stinks. He's hitting 225 this morning, 288 on base percentage. Most of that has been done out of the leadoff spot. He's not driving the baseball whatsoever. He did get a late walk yesterday. Probably should have been the go-ahead run if the Phillies could play, situational baseball and push that run across in the 9th. But otherwise, it's been atrocious. And the defense looks like it's kind of regressed back to where it's not embarrassing, but it certainly does not look above average at this point. Feels like there's some balls every night where you're a good shortstop might make that play, and he's not. He has to be better, in a meaningful way and very soon. They cannot – this offense is going to go nowhere if this is what he's going to be all year.
100%. And I was even going to bring up, Bob, I think he gets the weekend, and then I wouldn't be surprised if he's still struggling, he gets a day. They give him a day.
Yeah. They're going to have to continue to play him. You said it, a day, but it's not going to be some, 5-day reset. You can do that when you have every other thing firing and one guy slumping. They were able to carry him along back in 23 because everything else was working to a reasonable degree.
Right.
Now nothing's working. So the guy that's getting 27 million plus this year, we're going to need you to do it here, buddy. And that's one of the things that you look at when you talk about who's to blame and it always starts with the players, but when you look at the way that this team is financially constructed, they released Walker this week. That's $18 million. They owe him still another 15 for the remainder of the year. They paid him $3 million for a 9+ ERA over five games this year. It's a disaster. You compound that with Nick Castellanos being out in San Diego right now, $20 million there. That's $38 million going to absolutely nothing. Just a total net negative. It's not even nothing. It's worse than nothing, given what Walker did for you. And then on top of that, you have Aaron Nola making $24 million a year, who is not very good right now. And then you have Trey Turner making $27 million this year. That's almost $90 million for nothing, for below replacement level play. That's tough. That's tough. And we talked about the ownership, and we talked about the lack of willingness to take it another step. But $90 million for zero return is a tough pill to swallow here. Trey Turner, I will tell you this. Everyone knows where I'm at on Alec Bohm. I don't feel vindicated by his performance. It's actually miserable. I would like him to just go back to being the guy he's been. Maybe he'll get there. I don't like watching Trey Turner play baseball. I just don't at this point. there's no pop. And I mean that in terms of being able to drive the baseball. There's no emotional pop. He has all of this talent. He can do so many things, but he does none of it. Like it doesn't show up. And the clock's ticking. We're 25 games in. Any other year, I tell you, like, look, it's a bad month. He's had them before. We've seen what he can do when he's at his best. But like, dude, how about for once in your life, just like hit the ground running and be that guy. Be a dude. Like, not only is he not being a dude, he's killing him.
Yeah, Bob. I mean, it's frustrating. He is one of the most frustrating players I think I've ever watched, because you're right. He shows you how good, from time to time, how good of a player he really can be. And it's just not consistent. Right. And look, there've been inconsistent players who, before, and you sit there and go, well, I know he's going to have a hot streak and he'll show up at a certain time, he'll carry the team for 2 weeks and whatever. And like, they're up and down. And I get it. You can't afford for Trea Turner to be that guy. Trea Turner's got to be better than that. He needs to be a consistent player. And the fact that he's not is what's so maddening. I know that there's going to be a point in this year where he's going to go through 2 or 3 weeks and he's going to get 40 hits and steal 15 bases, and he's going to be like, oh, Tre's back. Look at Trea, he's great. And then he's going to go into a slump again. And then it's going to be like, just like you're saying now, like, oh, this guy, he's $300 million and this is what we get, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what he is. And it shouldn't be. For what he's being paid, that shouldn't be the case. The expectation was, when you were bringing him in here, is he was going to be the number 2 star behind Bryce Harper. And he's easily number 3.
You buy tickets to the Phillies. Do you feel like, hey, tonight I get to go watch Trea Turner, even through Bryce Harper's struggles?
Yeah.
He comes to the plate and I go like, dude, like, this guy's got a chance to do something special. I feel like it's worth the price of admission. Kyle Schwarber, same thing.
Yeah.
Trea Turner is not somebody that I think about walking through the gate going like, man, I got to watch Trea Turner play tonight. And I don't mean that to be mean. I'm telling you the truth. Like, that's how I feel about it. Like, he comes to the plate to start a game and I'm just like, okay, like, he's just a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he won a batting and like, in fairness, he won a batting title last year. So, he I guess should be afforded some time here, and I don't want to overreact, but I'm just telling you that I'm not surprised, I guess, by what I'm watching, and I find it to be extraordinarily frustrating at the very least, and it's time to get going. And again, like, if he's going to have a 290 on base percentage this year, then it just doesn't matter. Like, certain things can click, and if that's what he's going to be, they're not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's that important to them. And
no, he is that important. He is that important. And it's, I know we're gonna go through a bunch of individual things, but I kind of feel like this is a good transition to one of the things I wanted to talk about was the Dombrowski interview with on the radio that got, I think it was Phillies Nation that transcribed it, where he basically said, here's the exact quote. I have the exact quote. You really don't have a number 4 hitter at this time. You really don't have a number 4 hitter at this time. Well, here's my thing, Bob, right? I first of all, I've said this before, and we've talked about it. Like, I don't care about the lineup, like the construction of the lineup. All I care about is that your best hitters bat in the first inning. Other than that, I don't care the order, whatever. Yeah, there's a little bit of strategy as far as left-right matchups, whatever. But other than that, the lineup doesn't really matter. But I think Dombrowski is wrong on multiple levels for this comment. Okay. And the reason I wanted to bring it up here coming off of Turner's, because my take on it of why Dombrowski was wrong in saying it is different, I think, than everybody else's. We all agree that the reason that everybody's freaking out that Dombrowski said this is because it's basically his job to find a number 4 hitter, right? To put that team together. The fact that they don't have a number 4 hitter is inherently his fault, right? Yes. Okay, fine. All right. I understand that, and I'm with that. But here's where I am more annoyed by this quote not for the fact that they don't have a number 4 hitter, but because of the fact that they don't have a leadoff guy. They don't have Trey Turner is not the guy that you want there at this point. The way he's hitting, I mean, we've seen it over several years. He's too jumpy at the plate, doesn't walk enough, doesn't get on base enough. He's not the guy that you want leading off. If you had somebody, look at what the Cubs do, right? They have a bunch of guys in their lineup that get on base. Now, if you had that kind of lineup, I'm fine with Trey Turner leading off. Totally fine with it. Like, because it doesn't matter, because you're just going to have guys who are going to put the ball in play and put the bat on the ball, whatever. They're going to find their ways on base. If you don't have that throughout your lineup, you definitely need that person batting in front of Schwarber and Harper. And they don't have that, right? And so to me, that is the thing that I get more annoyed with Dave saying this, because if you had the right person at the top of the lineup, you could bat Schwarber 4, and then you'd have a number 4 hitter, right? Yeah. You have that player on your team. And so to me, this all circles back to Trey Turner in a lot of ways. It just all comes back to him. If Trey Turner's getting on base, I don't think we're worried about the number 4 hitter as much. There's still some concern, but it's not as big a thing. It's not as big as conversation. The fact that Trey's not getting on, it means that the lineup is a 2-person lineup, and it's your 2-3. And then you sit there and go, well, there's something missing. And it's not the 4 that's missing, right? It's the 1. And Chris, I will fight you on this forever. And this guy's going to owe me lunch, by the way, because he showed up at a Flyers game and bet me that Justin Crawford would hit 300 this year. I told him he wouldn't, and so I have a lunch coming to me. It's going to be the easiest lunch.
261 right now.
Down to 261. Yeah. But I said that you don't put Crawford in the leadoff spot. This is the same argument. These are the same people who said Bryson Stott should be your leadoff hitter. Where's Bryson Stott at right now? Right.
But in his defense, I agree with you. I would not hit him lead off because, 1, I don't think he's a good enough hitter. 2, I would not want to put that on a kid right away. Like, you're going to be the fix. You're going to be the thing that sparks the engine here. I mean, he got off to a good start. It has not gone that well lately. Right. Still has a 346 on base percentage, which on this team, makes you look like Mickey Mantle. But I just look at this and go, like, when you financially commit the way that you do to certain players, like, it's on for better or worse. Like, we don't have to like it, but I think you have to continue to say, like, well, one kid is a rookie who's kind of actually going through it a little bit right now, and one guy is a superstar supposedly. I have to ride this out. Like, this is how I constructed this thing. We have to continue to stay the course on this. And, like, it's miserable to watch. I don't want Trey Turner to hit leadoff anymore, but I just don't see enough of a hitter. I mean, things are going so poorly right now, but, like, this guy has what is it right now in this moment? A 708 OPS. Like, we're ready to jam a 708 OPS up at the top of the lineup. No. He's not hitting well enough. He hasn't been that guy.
No.
On this team, comparatively, it looks good. But, like, right now, again, if the Phillies were 5 games over, it'd be like, Crawford's okay. He doesn't play a great center field, doesn't have a very good arm, can't hit for power, but he's having an okay year. Like, I'm encouraged, sort of. But, like, taking that and saying you're the answer, I just don't see it.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And so that's where I say, we're focusing on the wrong thing with Dave's comment. It's an outrageous comment because he's the guy who puts the team together. But I don't think that we're focusing on the right aspect of it. Like, if he's talking about the cleanup hitter situation being what it is, it's not because you don't have that player there. It's because you're not getting what you need from above it.
It's just been a strange time for the Phillies. They've traditionally done a pretty good job here in recent years. I should say not traditionally, but recently. They're a good organization. They message things well. They, it's something that you feel like there's a sense of professionalism to it. And in the last 2 months, I mean, between some of the moves that have been made and some of the things that have been said, it just is like, what are we doing here? Like this past week, you talk about we don't have a 4-hitter, and you can be mad about that for a variety of reasons, but what an insane thing to have to say the third week of April. And that was also joined by Kevin Long. And I know you probably wanted to talk about this.
Yep.
Kevin Long, in talking about some of the struggles against left-handed hitting, mentioned that they don't have a left-handed arm to throw batting practice in game, right? Like I know a lot of people, as you pointed out when we were talking about it yesterday privately, kind of construed that as like, oh, they don't have anybody that can throw the ball with their left hand at any point for batting practice. But once you get into a game, we don't have. My thing is like, yes, well, if you thought that, if you now recognize that as a potential issue, you probably should have rectified that or had the foresight to have identified this 4 weeks ago and gotten somebody to do this, and they since have. But also saying that, even if it's like a throwaway, like let's just say, for instance, he talked for 90 minutes and that one line existed and it was just a very small piece of the overall message, which is not what it was, I don't think. But even if it were, like, what a dumb thing to say. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just that is not going to be received well. Nothing good can come from that comment. It makes you look like you're not taking responsibility. It makes you look tone deaf. It makes you look complacent. It just, nobody needs that.
Yeah, you're right. And you're 100% right. But the one thing I think that would happen sometimes, and I notice this more, I think, a little bit in baseball than in other sports, but I think that, we're all in a lot of ways seam heads, right? We're all kind of talking the nuance of the game and things like that when we're down there at the ballpark and having these conversations. And I think sometimes you forget, if you're Kevin Long or you're whoever, that you're talking to someone who's going to transcribe every word you say.
Yes.
Right. It's a conversation. We're talking about it. Right. And you sometimes forget that that's going to be put out there, and maybe not with the 100% context that the entire conversation has. And I'm not knocking Charlotte by any stretch of imagination. I think she did a great job with the story. Right. Like, I think it was a really, really good story. But I think that when Kevin Long's having that conversation, sometimes he forgets that that's what, what this is. And, I try to think about it afterwards. Like, okay, it was a ridiculous comment, but let me think about this for a second. It is probably a throwaway. It's not a big deal. How many guys are actually taking BP in game? I know Schwarber goes back there in the tunnel all the time. Like, because he's the designated hitter, doesn't have to be in the field. So when the Phillies are in the field, he's usually in the batting cage, which is about, 30 feet up the dugout tunnel to the right from the dugout. So that's where he's at a lot. I'm sure the guys who are on the bench who might pinch hit probably go in there a few times. So your Edmundo Sosas of the world, right, are going to go in there. Beyond that, I don't know if anybody else is going in there to get hacks. I mean, and if you are, what are you going in? Like, real quick, let me take 3 or 4 swings before I come up to bat next inning. Like, I don't think that there's a lot of that. I think I think you're only looking at a few people. So that, to me, is where that part's the missing part. And so, like, I look at it and say, it was a stupid thing to say. Probably shouldn't have said it, because it only makes everybody want to talk about that more and make you look incompetent as an organization. But in the grand scheme of things, is that really the issue? I don't think it is.
No, but what's weird is that it's a pattern of not understanding your audience. And go back to this past offseason. God knows we spent a lot of time talking about the Bryce Harper. He's not elite anymore. And it's just another thing where you're like, why? Like, what? Do yourself a favor and think through what you're saying before you say these things. And I just look at it right now. Let's say they don't figure this out. You have the Dombrowski stuff, the bad offseason, veterans not playing well. You all of a sudden can't seem to message things properly. Like, do you start to zoom out from this run that they've been on for a few years and say, like, man, like, they missed. And if Dave Dombrowski was better at his job, they would have maybe done this. Like, the Dombrowski legacy, I don't really care about Dave Dombrowski's legacy, by the way. I mean, he seems like a nice enough guy, but I totally do not give a shit the way that Dave Dombrowski will be viewed 10 years from now. It's not like something that keeps me up at night. But, like, in real time, you see this thing eroding a little bit. And you're like, is this the guy moving forward? How much longer does this go on? There was a time where this felt unthinkable to me because they were so bad for so long, and his professionalism and getting a lot of things together in this organization still should be applauded, I believe. I don't think that should all be forgotten. But as you just watch this thing go south, it's like, dude, this guy doesn't have the answers that I was expecting him to.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't want to re-litigate what I got into last episode because I think that he was a little hamstrung. But if he is a Hall of Famer, as Chris points out that he will be, within the decade, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. If he is a Hall of Fame executive,
well, I say his legacy. I mean, here,
but I know for sure.
20 years ago.
This is part of it. I mean, the Phillies were one of 4 teams he got to the World Series, right? I mean, so it is part of that. He might not have had as much money at his disposal the last 2 off seasons that we all wish he did. But that if you're a Hall of Fame executive, it's your job to figure it out. Like, okay, I don't have that money. Now I got to get creative. Now I got to find different ways to do this. And I mean, the only thing I can sit there and say is he tried with the Bichette thing, but beyond that, I think it's been incredibly underwhelming. Incredibly underwhelming. I mean, other than the trade for Jesus Luzardo last offseason, I would say his last 2 off seasons have been a disaster. And it's hard to say that because you brought back Schwarber, right? But that's your own player.
Well, it's funny because in this moment, like, that story hasn't been written yet. Like, he brought back Schwarber. Thank God he brought back Kyle Schwarber. Where would this team be without Kyle Schwarber? Well, who cares? What would they be? 5-20? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference? That could be the reason not to bring him back. And he's also hitting 198, by the way, and has been kind of ineffective against lefties, that was the whole thing. He became a more balanced, more complete hitter a year ago. Like, he hasn't been that guy. I'm not going to bring up Kyle Schwarber in a negative light on this show, but, like, again, in another year, I'd be like, hey, any problem with Kyle Schwarber hitting under 200 right now? Like, any concern there? It's been all or nothing.
He's done that before, though, right? I mean, like before last year,
that was what he was. But I think
22 and 23, he hit Mendoza line. Like, that's
he might have bought some regression this year knowingly, but, like, this has been, again, like, he's been completely neutralized here from the left side at this point. Like, I'd like a little bit more than that. Like,
you know what I think? You know what I think that one is, though, Bob. And I'm with you. I'm not one to criticize Schwarber in the moment, at least not right now. I think that he has so much more that he's trying to do because the rest of the lineup stinks.
Oh, I think there's definitely some of that. And
right.
But I mean, we're going to look at
the lineup starts hitting. It makes things a little bit easier on him.
The one thing that, I'd be a fraud, a complete fraud, if I didn't say in the moment that I understood why they brought back Real Muto for 3 years, $45 million. I certainly understood why they did the Luzardo deal. I wanted them to do the Luzardo deal. He's not been very good this year. And if that continues, like, Dave Dombrowski is going to be very wrong about that deal, and I will have been too. So I can't sit here and slam him for doing something I very much wanted him to do and then be like, well, I'm smart. It's not that, but, like, that move in this moment, I think, will work out. It has not yet. The Real Muto thing is very shaky at this point. I mean, he's gotten off to an okay start, but he's hurt now, and certainly he's not an impact bat. We knew that. The Schwarber thing, we'll see, but, like, the Nola contract is a disaster. Like, I just don't ever see this getting righted. And, they released Taijuan Walker this week, and the Castellanos thing never really panned out, and the Turner thing doesn't look good in this moment. There's just a lot here that he, I think, deserves criticism for. And, you go back to Max Kepler, it's $10 million. Yeah. Like, is that bargain basement? I guess, but it's still $10 million. That was a waste of money. Whit Merrifield was a waste of money. Adolis Garcia, like he's done some things. I'm not ready to say that was a brutal signing or a waste of money, but like I'm not to the moon over it either. Like there have been whiffs here, man, like significant whiffs. And like it's part of what's going on. I mean,
Yeah, but and you're right. And this is what, and I'm kind of in the middle ground on this.
This
because
Keller signing. I mean, Christ, we didn't even get to that. Am I allowed to say that word? We haven't even gotten to Brad Keller. I mean, he sucks. He was great last year. And I think he'll, all that seam head crap, like regression to the norm, and he'll bounce back, and it's early and small sample size, this and that. But that guy sucks right now.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in the middle ground on this, Bob, because some of these moves that he made, as you've already pointed out, we all were on board with when it happened, right? We were all on board with Trey.
Keller, dude, like this bullpen's going to be miles ahead of where it was last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's even like a lower level one, but I'm saying there's not a person in town who was unhappy with Trey Turner being signed.
No, it was like that was the need too. It was so obvious. It was like, wow, what a perfect marriage here. The need and the player, and this is going to be awesome.
You've said many times on this show before, you thought the Castellanos signing was a great signing.
Dude, I was fired up. I was like, this is the guy. Like he's the guy. The shirt's busting open at home plate. And he's thumping his chest, and everyone's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, this guy's a dog.
Yeah, I mean, so like there have been some moves, and you said it, the signing of Luzardo to the contract. You wanted it too, and a lot of people wanted it. So there have been moves that we all signed off on. We all sat there and said, definitely a good move, and they didn't work out.
Yeah, the Nola one, I was like,
I right. I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like there have been ones. So I'm kind of in the middle on this because I sit there and go, yeah, he did things that I thought were smart, and they didn't work out. But I'm not the only one who thought they were smart. Yeah. But then he's also made moves that I thought had been complete and total head scratchers, and they didn't work out. And it's like I remember go back and listen to our show when they signed Max Kepler last year, and I was completely dumbfounded by that move. Right. So like I have those too. So I'm kind of more in the middle on this. I don't want to kill the guy because I agreed with a lot of what he did, but I also disagreed with some of the moves that he made, and I think, but
what's scary though? What's scary? If like this thing it stays off the rails. I don't want to say if it goes because it has, but you get to July and people are going to say, blow it up, tear it down.
Yeah.
Look through that roster right now, and you tell me what pieces are palatable enough that you can trade that you would get back a meaningful return. There aren't many because. Quite frankly, a lot of the players that you'd want to trade have either no value or they do, but they're attached to contracts that are just simply not going to be transacted upon. So like right now in this moment, if like a Kerkering or a Keller, even with his deal, were to figure it out and get hot, they'd be interesting. Duran obviously would be interesting. Brandon Marsh would be very interesting, I think, to teams, but that's it. That's really it. I just named them all. There's not like another guy. If you got rid of Turner, you'd have to attach money to it. You probably have to attach prospects to it. I mean, Bryce Harper, is there a world where he asks out? Maybe. I doubt it. Not this year. Schwarber, you're not trading him. There's just not a lot of places you can turn to here in terms of like, let's meaningfully deconstruct to get back, especially with labor uncertainty pinned on top of it.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right.
Multi-year deals, there's going to be no appetite for that.
No.
So they're in this.
They are, and I have an interesting one last thing, Bob. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to dive into.
No, I mean I was actually going to dissect like all of the different problems. We didn't get to Luzardo, who I guess took a step forward the other night, but didn't get through 5 innings. Nola, who's been functional but not good. We could have, everyone that's been watching this knows the list. So let's just spare.
Are we going to pour one out for Taijuan since we had so many shows about him over the years?
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time talking about him, and then they finally release him, and we don't really talk about it. Everybody's talked about it, what a great teammate he was, and he's a professional, and that's all fun and like that's fine and well. But it was time for him to go. It was time for him to go in 24, quite honestly. And they got lucky that he sort of like was functional last year, but best of luck to him. Nothing personal, but holy smokes, what a just a horrendous 4 years.
Yeah. So it's disappointing. I mean, like I said, I liked the guy. And he was always
he's always stood up and answered the
Yeah.
questions and all that stuff. But like, that's not what you're making $18 million a year for 4 years.
Correct. He needed. Yeah, he definitely needed to go. The only other individual roster decision I wanted to kind of ask you about was your thoughts on Felix Reyes coming in and swapped out for Otto Kemp.
Yeah, I think it's really just shows the Phillies just poor planning, poor vision with how they went about left field this year. I mean, Otto Kemp was a guy that they talked up voluntarily. Like, when the conversation was not about Otto Kemp this offseason, Dave Dombrowski, Rob Thompson made points to talk about how much they like Otto Kemp. And he's out of here after 20 at-bats, which were 20 bad at-bats. And I'm not saying it's unfair to him. But if you liked him that much, it's bizarre to me that you pivoted out that quickly. And if you were willing to pivot out that quickly, you probably didn't have the confidence that you said you did. So why did you come into the offseason with no other alternatives than, Reyes, who to his credit got hot, had a good spring and started AAA hot, gave him an option, but like that wasn't on their radar. So, right. And now you're throwing him into just an impossible situation. Hey, go be our cleanup hitter, protect Bryce Harper. That's a tough spot for a kid to hit, and hit the ground running. And, he's hitting 200. He had a couple nice moments, but like, that's not the answer. We all know this.
Yeah. So I will tell you, he didn't strike out. His at-bats
looked competitive, and so credit to him. He certainly deserves to be here at this point. But I think that the story is not Reyes, unfortunately. It's like that they've had to go there this quickly, and it's just a huge miss by them.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. Okay, so here's my one last thing. And it kind of relates to the Phillies, but it also relates to a bunch of other teams as well. We talk so much about the Phillies running it back, and they should have done this, they should have done that, they should have. So I decided, I said, let me look around baseball and look at all the players that everybody wanted the Phillies to get.
They all suck.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, really right? Is. Kyle Tucker, so far, starting for the Dodgers, 699 OPS, right? Hitting 245, 0.1 WAR. Eugenio Suarez, who, oh my God, go get that. Look at how cheap he went to the Reds for. How, after the Bichette thing falls through, how do you not go get him? He's 663 OPS, minus 0.1 WAR. Sucks defensively at third base. Should have traded the farm for Stephen Kwan last year. I would have people who wanted to trade Andrew Painter for Stephen Kwan last year. Hitting 227, 604 OPS for the Guardians, 0.0 WAR. Jarren Duran, right? Trade for him. He's the outfield upgrade you need from Boston Red Sox. Hitting 197 with a 568 OPS.
Wow, like flipping off the stands like every other week.
Yeah, and then there's Bo Bichette, right? Who, should have got it done. Don't assume a deal is done. Don't let him walk out. He got these signs with the Mets. How dare you let that happen? Hitting 238 with 270 on base, 585 OPS, minus 0.3 WAR, because he also sucks at third base. The only thing I want to point out is not saying that it was the right thing to stay with what you had, but all the players that we wanted might not have been the right answer either.
Not on April 24th. So maybe this was just always inevitable for the Phillies. There was nothing they could do. The stars were just simply aligned this way. It would have been misery no matter what.
Isn't that wild, though, that that all these players stink?
Yeah. And I mean, look, Bohm has done a very good job defensively. Like, he's made some plays. The defense has actually helped his WAR at this point. I mean, but I don't know, 670 OPS or 660 OPS at third base right now looks a hell of a lot better than 440. He was on base twice though yesterday. Yeah, he did have two hits the night before, so
yeah,
maybe he's going to get it rolling here. I don't know, man.
I'm just curious if what they do now, because Sosa's actually looked a little bit better.
You know what they should do? They should get Dylan Moore some at bats. What an at bat he had yesterday. Several foul tips before an infield pop up.
Yeah, the pop up with the first and third and nobody and one out. Like
that's the kind of thing that we would come on the show and rip apart. Like we'd be killing them for stuff
Just
like
put that damn ball in play. Just put it. I mean, like,
why can't this team bear down and put the ball in play? They're still 14 games over 500, though. Those are the days. You know what is happening? It was my final thought for all the call me in October people. We're learning a lesson now.
Yeah,
this is why you have to enjoy the ride, because this is miserable. You're going to want to sit down in the middle of June and turn on a Phillies game and say, like, all right, boys, make me believe tonight. And it doesn't look like you're going to get that opportunity right now. That's why you enjoy those 90-plus win seasons.
100%. 100% right. Well, that'll do it for us here on Phightin Words. As always, thanks for tuning in. We didn't even look ahead to the Braves series.
Well,
no. But, I mean, it's you got Painter tonight, Wheeler tomorrow, Nola on Sunday. I think they got to win 2 out of 3. I think this is an incredibly important series early in the year. It's rare that I say that, but I do think it's an incredibly important series. They got to win 2 out of 3. If they don't, it's when we get back here on Monday, Bob. If they're 9-19 or 8-20, my goodness, we might.
Are you predicting that? Are you predicting the series win?
I'm going to say yes.
Wow. Okay. Good for you. You're going to be on an island with this one, buddy.
I'm going to say yes, 2 out of 3. I don't feel confident with it, but I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say the Phillies find a way to win a game, but that's it.
Just the one?
Yeah.
I'm not super confident with my pick, but then again, we've been wrong all season, so yeah.
Go Flyers.
Yeah, I know. Flyers. Yeah, Flyers tomorrow night. That'll be good. Go Flyers, right? Anyway, thanks for tuning in. So don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast. Best place, though, right here on YouTube. Click that thumbs up, ring the bell. You'll always know when Bob and I go live. As soon as we hit that go live button, you get an alert on your phone or on your device, and come join us and have some good baseball chatter for an hour. If you're listening in the podcast feed, you want to find us on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@Phightin Words. For Bob Wankel, I'm Anthony Sanfilippo saying have a great weekend, everybody, and we will talk to you again on Monday.